3 minutes, I think, according to my clock.
Go.
All right. Wow. Welcome, everybody. We have a really exciting call for you tonight, and one that I think you're all going to really enjoy the information from, with Eileen Dirom from Duncan. Before we get into that, there's a couple of little announcements and some new faces that you're going to see. Our Fab Five group is very sorry to lose Fawn Christensen. She's decided to, we didn't lose her, except that she's decided to step down as, you know, in being the one of the interviewers and hosting, and is moving on to another humanitarian endeavor, you know, within her own career of helping people and whatnot. Not leaving Galen or anything like that, but just won't be your regular greeter on the call anymore. So we really would like to extend a huge amount of gratitude for the dedication and passion and spirit that she always brought to our calls, and she'll probably pop in and look in on us sometimes. But in her shoes, we're very, very fortunate to have a new person, and that is Lee Rafferty from Australia. Yay, Lee! And so Lee is going to be joining our Fab Five group. Our doctors Ron and Ken are still going to be here, and Jackie, of course, and I will be here. Jackie's away this week. And has just had a new grandbaby, so that's all pretty exciting. You've probably seen her posts. So Lee brings a wealth of information from the corporate field, and 40 plus years in a career that she's giving up to give her total attention to Galen, which is very, very exciting. And Lee is actually a lawyer and is going to be on from that to helping more people through Galen. So Lee is going to be our official interviewer tonight, interviewing Eileen. And even though it says Jackie Boyle under her picture, it's really Lee Rafferty. So welcome, Lee. And I'll hand it over to you, and I'll watch for some questions in chat, and then we'll have a time to have some questions and a few announcements at the end.
Thank you very much, Debbie. It's lovely to have the opportunity to join you all on these calls and step in for Jackie today because she couldn't be with us. So today we are going to talk to Eileen, who is going to share her Galen story with us. Eileen is one of the original founding members of Galen Distributors, and with her passion and sincerity and commitment, she has managed to achieve Ruby status and then grandfathered into Ruby. And in fact, there have only been 4 weeks in the time that Eileen's been with Galen that she has not achieved Ruby. So that's undoubtedly due to a lot of hard work and dedication. Well done, Eileen. Eileen is a lovely person, and she consistently gives to other people on a regular basis. She has a partner named Dave and 2 lovely children, Abby and Trainer. So let's talk about you for a moment, Eileen. You have a career, I understand, in the health profession. Can you tell us something about that, please?
I do. I've been a nurse. I've just reached my 25th anniversary of being a nurse, and I presently work with Vancouver Island Health Authority here out on Vancouver Island. And I've spent most of my career, pretty much 23 years of it, working as a gerontological specialist. I started back in '95 working with home support, and that was my beginning days of working with seniors. And it's been quite a journey from that point on. I've gone from case management, and now I work as a senior outreach nurse, and our main specialty in that area is mental health amongst seniors, particularly dementia and the behaviors of dementia. I often say I work with seniors that behave badly, and that's my role out in the community. So I work in the hospital. Yes, Brian, I'll come visit you. I work out in the community and in the hospital and in any of the facilities that are requiring assistance with seniors that are having struggles. And my role is often to go in and figure out what the problem is, what's changed for them, and then make recommendations around that. And the majority of the time I'm having to assist seniors with or assist caregivers with understanding that it is approached probably 98% of the time. So it depends on how we approach our seniors as to how they're going to behave. And we try to do least medication possible and work with behaviors as non-intrusively as we can.
Great. Must be some big challenges, but a lot of rewards in there, I expect.
Amazing rewards. And if I really make one of them angry, what's great when they have dementia is they forget. Yeah. And I can go in with a smiley face and they love me again.
Well, I can understand why they love you, because you're such a refreshing, lovely presence about you, Eileen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. So how did you discover Eileen, and who sponsored you?
Well, our lovely Jana introduced me to Eileen. Yes. I was working with Jana in another company previous to Eileen, and she invited me over one day, and I came with all my books, planning on studying what we were moving forward with in the previous company. And I walked in and I saw all these little Eileen bottles on her shelf, and I was like, what the hell? What's this about? And she's like, we'll talk about that. Just let's go have lunch. So she introduced me to Eileen. I was able to get some samples of Eileen right away. And I was pretty skeptical, but within 4 days I was sleeping, and I thought, no, I need to give this product and company a chance. Yeah. And I haven't looked back.
Great. So when you joined Eileen and you'd had such a positive experience of the Eileen, did the rest of your family try the products as well?
Well, that was one of the things. As soon as I did more research on the product, I couldn't wait to get my son on the product. And my son has autism, and I knew that it would help him in some way. And my partner, Dave, he was put on it right away, even though he wasn't too interested, but he's been on it now for the last year and takes it religiously. And my daughter also takes it. Right. And my mom, and it just keeps expanding in my family. My Auntie Cindy, Lucinda Harlow, who's on the call tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's great to share among the family. So for yourself in the longer term, what have been the benefits for you with the Eileen and the Climax?
Well, I've been on Eileen now since December 2016, and I had a surgery, it would have been January 2017, and so I'd been on Eileen for about a month at that time and had run out. And it was amazing, and I had a previous surgery a year before, so I knew what the result was going to be in terms of pain. And I had run out, and the first couple of days I was quite panicky, and Jana was able to get more product to me. And I recovered from that surgery in a week and could have gone back to work, but took the second week off, where the previous surgery was 6 weeks of recovery. So it was a substantial change in pain and inflammation, and just in overall well-being. I felt incredibly well. Mm-hmm. I continued to sleep well. Prior to being on Eileen, I was not a sleeper. I was up at 3 o'clock. I did that awful 3 to 5, God help me, let me go back to sleep thing for years. My son had seizures in his early years, and most of his seizures were nighttime seizures. So I listened in my sleep with one ear open all the time. And that created some terrible sleeping habits, and Eileen helped turn that around for the first time in my life. Mm-hmm. So I feel rested, brain fog has cleared, and those general aches and pains that you get as you age. I'm 50, I'll be 53 in November, and I feel better than I've ever felt. And I can guarantee you I feel better than I did when I was 30.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. So you can age disgracefully.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
And what about your partner, Dave? Have you made any observations about benefits for him?
Well, we were talking about this the other day because this call was coming up, and he has noticed substantial changes. His aches and pains are much better. He has a significant lower back injury, which he's basically bone on bone with osteo, and so that in and of itself is improved. He still has pain with that, but the general aches and pains of, you know, getting up in the morning and you're bent over and you can hardly move have improved. His sleep's improved, and with the introduction of Climax back in January, he now has significant hair growth. He was having some bald spots on his head, and he is absolutely floored that the hair has come back. He's a true believer now.
Yes, well, and that's often when people can see things as well. I'm sure plenty of men who'll be envious and wanting the hair growth, and a lot of women too. So what about your children? Shall we start with Abby?
Definitely. I mean, Abby is an Eileen distributor. Many of our members met her when she was in Vegas with us. And right now she is in Thailand and en route back on Saturday. She has had some significant changes with Emulin in particular. And the challenge, of course, is she's a teenager or 20 years old, and it's hard to get anything into them consistently. But it does help her mood, and she would probably throttle me for saying this, but I have noticed her PMS symptoms have definitely reduced.
Oh, good.
She's much more pleasurable to be around.
Well, that's positive. And have there been any other benefits to her that you have observed?
I would say that she has significant knee problems, and she's had 3 surgeries on her knee, on both knees. And she complains about pain in her knees, and she'll get inflammation at times, but that is reduced from what it used to be, and the complaints are minimized. And I think she does see the benefits of taking it, and she appreciates when her mom puts it out for her, because that makes it easier.
Well, that's good. It's not so great to think about starting off at 20 with knee problems.
No, she has terrible knees.
Yeah. And what about Trainer?
Trainer is my rock star in terms of a testimony, because he started off from a place where there could be significant changes. He has autism. He has had significant behavioral issues with the autism, to the point where we had to have him not living in the house for a period of time, and having him go to different homes 4 nights of the week. And he's now been on Emulin for a year, probably close to 18 months now, because we started him in December 2016, and he's been on the Climax since January. And the Climax, I think I've noticed the most change. He's gained more words. He is better able to explain himself. And for many of you, that might be hard to understand, but when you have your son sitting next to you and he says to you, "Mommy, how was your day?" And, you know, I would answer, and that's a common thing he'd say. And then he would say to me, "And how's Dave's day? And how's his new job?" The fact that he even recognizes that he has a new job and is asking about it is out of this world for me. And the benefit that we saw with Emulin is he is a child that has been a carbaholic. He would seek out carbs. He would eat pasta. If any of you have watched the movie Elf, and Will Ferrell's eating the spaghetti with the syrup on it, that was my son. Absolutely. He will dump a whole bottle of ketchup on his food just to get the sugar and such that he was wanting. Although he still loves ketchup, he's moved away from eating carbs. He will select from food that's offered to him the fresh fruits and vegetables, the salads, and the meats, and leave the carbs behind.
Great.
And everyone is floored by that, and he would not have consciously been able to make that decision. It's an innate choice for him now. And I believe Eileen has helped with that change.
Well, that's great, because ongoing, his health overall is going to be much better as well. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
when he started the Climax, was that when you noticed the greater changes with communication and other aspects of his autism?
I did. And over the last couple of weeks, it became evident that he was not receiving his Climax as regularly as he should be. The caregivers were mixing it in too much water, and so he was not wanting to drink it for them. And we had significant behavioral changes. And so his mood was less stable. He became angry more easily. He was doing, we call them stink eyes. He looks at people and gives them these stink eyes, and it's a very aggressive move because he's 6'3" and can be quite threatening looking when he does it. And so he is now back on, and he's actually taking 2 doses a day and taking it without difficulty. And we're hoping that we'll see quick improvements, because we did initially see quick improvements with him.
Right.
I don't know if how many of you have ever heard of Kim Barthel, but Kim Barthel's an occupational therapist who wrote a book with Theo Fleury called Conversations with the Rattlesnake. Fabulous book on trauma-informed practice. But Kim was Trainer's occupational therapist while he was growing up. And we had the opportunity for her to come and visit him at Easter, and she was floored by the changes in him. And her comment was, he is comfortable for the first time in his own skin. And I truly feel our products have helped with that.
And that's wonderful, because you observe the changes, but someone who hasn't seen him for a time will see them more dramatically, of course, because they haven't seen the progress. That's wonderful feedback for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so what has that meant for your family overall, the improvement, Trainer?
Well, I mean, hopefully I won't turn to tears on this one, because it's pretty powerful. But considering the fact that my son and my daughter could not be in the same room together for a long period of time, and we're talking a good 5-6 years, and up until this time last year, actually August last year, Trainer and Abby could not spend time together because it would turn to him being aggressive. And she is now one of his caregivers, and he is living in a trailer with my niece, who also has autism, and she is able to go into that trailer, and they have an amazing relationship, which is makes any mother extremely proud.
Yeah.
And I think she sees the improvement in him and his ability to now understand things better. And I believe that our products, again, have helped with that.
Great. And it must be lovely to see the 2 children being able to share their life.
Yeah, it's magical.
Yeah, I'm sure it must
That gives me goosebumps, Eileen. That's just the most heartwarming thing that you just said right there. Just that ability to get along with the people you're supposed to get along with is just amazing. I saw his run in the track. He looked pretty happy.
Yeah, and that was a 1,500 meter run.
Oh, wow.
So is that something new, relatively new for Trainer, Eileen? Has he been involved in sporting activities for very long?
He was at a competition this past weekend called Operation Track Shoes, which is a special needs developmentally disabled track meet out here on the coast that's been running for 41 years. And it's typically about 500 developmentally disabled athletes and approximately 500 volunteers. And the groups all go down and stay at the University of Victoria for the weekend. And it's absolutely magical.
Yeah, and he certainly looked as though he was having a good time, because I saw the posts as well. Well, they all did. It looked like a really amazing event with lots of happy people being able to achieve something.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So is there anything else about your family that you'd like to share with us at this stage, other members of your family?
Well, I have my mom on the product, and she was not a believer until she went and got her blood work done and saw that her cholesterol had actually been reduced with being just on the Amulin. I would like to get her on the Climax, but Cindy and I are working on that because she's reluctant and she does need to go for a shoulder surgery. So Brian, I might have you speak to her. I've had a couple brothers that have also taken the product. One who had significant foot issues, and he noticed that when he was on the Amulin, his foot, he had like a bone spur that was coming out of the bottom of his foot from a hockey accident many years ago, and he said that had significantly reduced in discomfort. And my other brother has lots of swelling in his lower legs. He's had several rugby injuries, and he has a blood disorder. And I can't remember the name of it right now, but it causes edema in his lower legs. And he found that definitely reduced with being on the Amulin.
Excellent. And I think, certainly speaking for myself, and I'm sure for everyone who's involved with Galen, it's such a joy, isn't it, to see people overcoming these problems, often long term. I had someone tell me recently she had been in chronic pain for many years, and she on her own decision, she said to me, I've ditched all my meds, and she had a lot. And 4 days later on Amulin, her pain was reducing and she had lost 2 kilos. And I saw her last week. She gave me a great big hug and she said, what I would have liked to have done is taken all those tablets and tipped them over the head of my former doctor. So it's great to see people feeling well and being more active as well, which is so important.
Well, I think that's the thing that I've noticed with the Climax, and I forgot to mention, is that I now physically feel when I get home from work that I can work out and not have the pain the following day of not being able to, sit down or get up from my chair. It's totally changed my recovery.
Yes, it would seem that we don't need much else.
No.
A bit of exercise, some water, and Galen.
That's right.
Yes. So as a founding distributor, what kind of activities do you encourage in your team on a regular basis?
Well, I encourage our team members to get on the calls, get on Jana's call, get on this call. When John was doing his calls, which this one has turned into, be on the corporate calls. When I'm looking on Facebook and I see people making comments about things that are being shared in our calls and they're missing out on those, it's absolutely essential that they keep themselves up to date. They need to know what's happening with the company. They need to know how to respond to the other distributors and customers when things are not happening the way they anticipate. And we need to be consistent in our answers, and we need to be duplicatable. So I'm definitely getting on the calls, being available for side training, going over goals with individuals, and helping keep the upbeat feeling of being part of this amazing company.
Yes. Well, you're leading by example, clearly.
I do try.
Yes. And what kinds of challenges have you been faced with on your journey as a distributor?
Well, I think my biggest challenge as a distributor is I'm an individual that's always looking at my cup is overflowing, and I don't sweat the small stuff. So, when I have individuals calling me and concerned about shipping taking longer than it should, I really have to bite my tongue, because I had to wait 9 years for my son to be toilet trained. I had to wait 5 years for my son to stay. So to me, those things are first world issues. They are doing everything they can to make it better, and it will be better. And isn't it great that there's such a demand? That's what we have to look at. The positive of this is there's such a demand for our product. Climax is going to be available for more people. We are going to get more people, or the shipping's going to be more streamlined very soon. And it's don't sweat the small stuff. So that's been one of my challenges, is really trying to keep my team positive, and it gets easy as a leader to be brought down when you keep hearing people complain. And I'm thinking, you know, we're trying to individually build our businesses. We need to be upbeat, because that's who people want to come to, is someone that's upbeat. And then the other piece is just that my teams grew so quickly. I had some amazing distributors that were so skilled at bringing people on, and then unfortunately they left the company. And so I have this humongous team, and I really want to get to know them. And so my frustration at this point is not being able to look at our back office and be able to see everyone who's on my team in an easy way. But knowing that Galen's working towards that, and we will be having that soon, I'm making every effort to be patient. And when that happens, then I will have no excuse for not reaching out to people.
Yes, well, it's the only way to go, I think. Have a positive mindset, be grateful and be patient, as you say.
Mm-hmm.
And so generally, how do you overcome, if you're trying to get someone interested in the product to become a customer or a distributor, and there's a bit of resistance, how do you deal with that?
When I'm looking at, I tend to go through the product first, because I'm a nurse first and foremost, and I see the benefits of the product. And so when I see someone that is struggling or talking about a concern they have, I mention to them, I have this product, it might be worth you taking a look at. I'm not a pushy person at any time. But that tends to be the lens that I'm most comfortable with sharing. And if someone's resistant, I just share the information and say, if you have any questions, get back to me. I will reach out again to them, and just, because people will come on board with the product, and then they don't think they really need it. And lo and behold, a couple months later, they often are contacting me again and saying, I think I need to get me some more of that stuff. Get me that stuff quickly. So I haven't had that much of a challenge. My biggest challenge with sharing the product, however, is in my job, I cannot share the product. And those are the individuals I really want to be on Emulin and Climax. But because of what's the word I'm looking for? It's a conflict of interest for me to be sharing it. And if they can find me through other avenues, I'm okay with sharing, but I can't. And it's every single day I'm interviewing a client and I'm like, I know something you need to take.
Yeah. Do you see any way? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I hear you with that 100%. I just wondering if there's any way that you have contact with their families, that you could sort of, approach a family member sort of outside of business hours.
I can do that because I'm in a small town, and I'm quite well known because my family goes back several generations here. So people are getting through word of mouth that I am selling the product, and that's how I can do it in a roundabout way. But I can't directly contact the families. No, it would go against my whole nursing.
Yeah, and your personal ethics as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
and I still need my VHA job.
So, in the future, do you have any plans or thoughts about how you might be able to change your position and your opportunity to extend the information to those people?
I do. I think about this all the time. I am so interested in brain health and prevention moving forward. After working with so many individuals over the years with end-stage Alzheimer's, I would like to start working with people before they get to that state. And I think Galen gives me that opportunity to share the product and talk about inflammation and diabetes, number 3, being Alzheimer's and diet and expanding on all of those levels. I have a passion to work with seniors, and I have a passion to work with the autism community. And just say to people, try it. Yeah. You're not going to lose out on trying it. It's not going to interact with anything else. If anything, you're going to feel better, and you can cut back on some of the other products that you're taking that may be causing you to take another medication.
Yes. Do you find much resistance from people due to the fact that the products are not medicinal in the sense that they're prescription medications, that they're natural?
Yeah, I do see some resistance there. It's easier to take a pill from a doctor than it is to try something naturally, but I see a shift that's happening. And for the first time in my career with working with the psychiatrists I work with, they were talking about neuroplasticity today with one of my clients, and diet, and the importance of pushing back. And usually it's like, they're saying you have dementia and this is the prognosis. And so it was the first time I'm working with said, push back. This is what you can do. And so that to me was really enlightening. And we had an in-service a couple weeks back, and it was a dietitian came in and talked about foods that reduce inflammation within the body. And I was blown away. The room was full of people. So people are ready to hear alternatives.
Yes, indeed. By the way, if anyone can hear growling, I'm sorry, the puppies are play fighting. There's a lot of growling going on here, so I apologise for that. Now, in terms of the future, what's your thinking and your challenges and dreams for the future with Eileen?
Well, right now, because I was able to be grandfathered in as a Ruby, and have that bonus, that little pension now forever, which is so fabulous. I was able to actually cut back on my work. So I no longer have to work full-time as an RN for VIHA. I'm down to a 0.7. So my goal is to concentrate on that extra hour and a half I get a day now that I'm not at my workplace behind a desk, to spend some time pursuing Eileen and working more closely with my team and expanding the team. I have members in Australia, in the Philippines, all over the place. So I really want to dig deep and find out where people are and help support however I can there. I would love to be able to do my nursing career on a casual basis, on call, because I don't want to give that up. I love working with my seniors. I have such a passion for continuing to do that, but I am looking for other avenues to share the knowledge I have and share it to a broader community.
Yes, and your nursing background must be a really useful foundation to get people's attention and want to listen to you more than perhaps they might for someone without that medical background.
It does help in some conversations. The toughest ones are the nurses I work with. They're pretty hard to change, their way of thinking, but it's interesting because my team has been watching me over the last 18 months, and now they're hearing the doctors talk about inflammation, and they're like, you're onto something, Eileen. So I'm like, it's not me, it's my company, but...
Yes, but you, like so many of us, you're onto it now, and you can give all this wonderful information to people and make them live a better life, which is great.
Isn't that what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Now, the leadership in this company, from Mr. Chan Heng Fai, Dr. Rajen, Doctors Arends and Scolio, and also Costagara. Can you give us your thoughts about the leadership of the company?
I just love our leadership. When I met Mr. Chen Hengfai in Vegas, he is just the most amazing, kind man. And when I saw the video clip that they did of him with his grandchildren, I was like, I want him to be my grandpa. He was just so phenomenal and so warm-hearted. And before I left Vegas, he said to me, and like he shook my hand and he looked me in the eye and he said, if there's ever anything you need, let me know. And then, you know, when you talk about Dr. Rajan, like that man is the salt of the earth. And Jana told me that when she first met him, what an impression he had made for her. I was blown away because when I first met him, I was expecting a shorter man, to be honest, but he just has a presence about him that is unbelievable. And his philosophy just fits so near and dear to my heart about helping people be better, helping others, and just if I send him a message, I have a response that is so quick and helpful, and he's just endearing. He's an amazing man. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Scolio, he makes me laugh. He has such a keen interest in what's happening with my son and his interest in autism. And any time I send him a question, the same thing, I'm getting a response and recommendations, and it's so warm to know that I can reach to leadership and I have their support. And I don't have Dr. Aaron's email, but if I did, I'm sure I'd hear back from him too. Yeah. And that man, every time he speaks, I learn something new. He's just, he's able to tell us things that are so scientific and make it so easy to understand.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think from my point of view, we've got highly talented people in the leadership, people who are available to us, as you say, and they give. It's extraordinary. I can't imagine that there would be many, if any, other companies that have the kind of leadership we have. They're generous with their time and they make sure that we can be as informed as we need to be.
Mm-hmm. And they care. They care. And I remember Dr. Aarons saying, you look me in the eye and you ask these questions and you will know that I care. I am so where else do you get that? It's not about selling the product. It's about caring about people and making them better.
Yes, and I expect that comes through too with the amount of dedication that is required. I'm sorry about the naughty children.
No worries.
That's yes, Debbie?
Oh, I was just going to add, the company sort of has this extra twist to it that can really come in handy if people are, you know, they hear about the product and then they say, is this an MLM? As if it is, I don't want anything to do with it. But because of the history, the only reason that Mr. Chang Heng Fai would back this company was if it went as an MLM model, because he realized, and he'd never been involved in one before, but he realized that in order to get it out to people and have people telling people, that was the model that it had to go with. Mm-hmm. And not just go on a store shelf and hope that the clerk understands what to say about it. So I think that really sets it apart, and it gives it some huge credibility that, you know, he was willing to put his expertise and his money behind the company, basically, if it took that model. And that's, you know, that's a pretty big incentive, I think, for people who aren't sure about MLM. I think that says a lot right there.
Absolutely.
It certainly does, especially from someone with his background and knowledge of financial business matters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that the success of the distributors or anyone who works in a company like this and Eileen's ability to build a good team, it's about the leadership. If you have good leadership, you know, you can achieve so much, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's not that we haven't had hiccups. I mean, everybody's aware of the hiccups that we've had with Galen, but I know in the background, Dr. Rajan is working his ass off to make things better.
Yes.
And, you know, he wants this to be, he wants us all to be able to succeed, and he wants us all to feel better on the products that he's providing through his company.
Yeah. Yes, and that shines through. I think I have no doubt about it, and it's really makes it even more wonderful to be part of. So, in terms of the future, I think we've heard something about your plans. I anticipate you'll be working towards Emerald.
Oh, definitely, definitely. You know, the challenge is you have to get those rubies in the same week, and that's one of the challenges with our comp plan. But if you get the volume and you have your individuals building to ruby, it will happen. Yes. And it's a matter of helping others to actually, for me to move forward. So it's been close a few times, but 2 in a week, that's a tough one.
Yes, it is.
When Jana says you need to build 12 deep, or 12 people on each, or 6 on each side, have 12 distributors, she really means that, because it's hard to get out of the ruby status without that.
Yes, and the great thing about that is it almost forces the teamwork, doesn't it? It really makes you focus on not only your own success, because your own success is dependent upon enabling the success of others in your team.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, is there anything else that you would like to share with us, Eileen? We're travelling quite well for time, so if there's anything else that we haven't asked you about.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and I had, in December 2016, I had no idea that this was going to be happening in my life, and I am so thrilled it has, because the people I've met have been so phenomenal. It's amazing the number of people I know now all over the world, and it's been a fascinating journey, because relationship building is what this company is all about, and I really feel that I can pretty much travel anywhere, I hope, and you know, visit people, and yeah, it's exciting.
Good luck. I'm sure you're going to continue to succeed. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now,
Eileen, I wonder if I could ask you a question about the marketing side. Do you have any particular favorite methods of marketing, like social media, or, you know, buying leads, or what is it that you've found to be? I'm sure there's many, but is there something that has stood out that's really helped you, you know, to meet with strangers? Because the people that we know, the sort of the warm market, sometimes those are easier, sometimes they're harder, but do you have methods of reaching out to people that you don't know?
Most of the people that purchase from me know me. And basically, I mean, up until a month ago, I was working full-time with my nursing job, so it was hard for me to really reach out to the cold market. That is one of my plans, is to start figuring out how to do that, and Jen and I have talked, you know, in regards to getting some of those leads. My method up until now has been through Facebook. I don't know a lot about Instagram. I don't know a lot about Twitter. I kind of fall back onto the one that I'm comfortable with, and it's just been putting out hints. This is what's worked for me. Like I would say something about sleep, and then I might get 2 or 3 people contacting me. What are you talking about here? And then I would fill them in, and maybe 1 out of those 3 would purchase a bottle from me. Or I'd put a testimony on my page, and then people would be, I need to know more about this product. You've been talking about this now for a while. And you know, Canadians, I think, are more like that. They want to know that someone's sticking to something for a while before they jump on board. They want to see that there's consistency over time, because there is a lot of MLM companies out there, and a lot of people jump to different products, and so I've gained some credibility, I think, locally, because people have seen me staying involved with this company, and my course has been, just keeping it simple, staying a little, and sharing with those that come to me. But I'm in a small community, so it's relatively easy for me to do that. But moving forward, if I really want to do this full time, I need to expand beyond my community and start looking at the cold market as well. And we'll be having to do some research about how to do that, because it's all new for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of methods, and it's hard to know sometimes which ones to go with. I just wanted to point out a couple of comments that have come up already. Oh, somebody's making some noise. One that really stood out from Lucinda: I'm part of Eileen's downline, and she is amazing, always available to give me the support I need as a new distributor. Ashley says absolutely to that. But there was a question from Bev Ellis. She says, I'm wondering if it was the too much water in the glass that would be the reason that Trainer wouldn't drink the Climax. I think you alluded to that.
Yes, absolutely. He takes it in a shot glass, no problem.
Oh, and so fairly strong.
Yeah, he'll do his little shake, like ooh, but then he'll drink a glass of water afterwards. But I think with taking the Emulin, he finds, what I'm thinking is he finds it too sweet.
Okay.
The Climax. So. And he used to like sweet things, but
yeah, I was just going to say, isn't that interesting that he was really craving sweets before, and then so that's really changed his palate for sure.
Yeah. So no, he does take it quite easily now.
If I could interject a moment there, just that Eileen, Gail here is the one that made the comment, and she has grandsons and can relate to what you're saying. So I think that's why she asked the question. Is that?
Well, she mentioned earlier that he wouldn't drink it when it was a large glass of water. I was just wondering, was it because there was too much water in it?
Yeah, it definitely was too much water.
Not that a lot of water will hurt us.
No, and he'll drink that much water. He just doesn't want to drink that much sweet water.
Yeah.
And I think Dr. Scolio has mentioned before, like an average of around 4 ounces is fairly typical for an amount, but less than that's obviously going to be fine too. So just if people didn't kind of know how much is sort of recommended, I don't think it really matters. But the other thing about drinking it if you're doing it in divided doses in the day, where you're just taking the dose a couple of times and not sort of taking it throughout the day, then you just want to make sure you're getting the whole benefits like right away. So a smaller amount of water makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I think the other thing that we've noticed too, and I talked to Dr. Ahrens about this on the doctor's call, we increased my son's Emulin to 3 a day, and then he's on the Climax, and he's had incredible acne over the years, and his acne is actually clearing up quite substantially with these products. And I almost to the point of posting a picture. I have to do it carefully for him, but I think it would be worth people seeing the change that's happened. And Dr. Ahrens also talked about the benefits of taking the extra Emulin in regards to how you react to the sun. And over the last while, I've been out in the sun a fair bit. I have looked like I've had a burn, but I have not been burnt, and it's turned to a tan quite quickly. And he explained that as with the extra Emulin in your body, you have, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Ron, it reduces the hydrogen peroxide that is formed on the skin, thereby reducing the pain that you would get from the sunburn. And and besides that, no peeling. I was shocked because I was sure I was going to peel after that sunburn, and had no pain that night and no peeling afterwards.
And Dr. Ahrens has always said, you can't really take too much. If you take too much, it either goes to the skin or goes into the urine. So if it's going to the skin, it's protective of the skin and giving people some changes in their, in their texture of their skin as well. So yeah, it's not like you can really overdose on it, and if you do, you just get more benefits. So
That's right.
Well, exactly. And when we talk about the skin and the sun and the burning, that's radiation from the sun. And we're told by Dr. Ahrens, the only people who should not be taking Emulin are those who are going through radiation therapy with their cancer, because the radiation is not going to be effective as they would like it to be, medically speaking. It might not get the full benefit, but we're going to get the full benefit if we overdose. I was out in the sun all day today with a bunch of little kids, and I'll tell you, there's no burning, nothing. It's an amazing thing. The skin gets more refined the longer and longer I take it, and I'm old. You're young enough to be my daughter, Eileen, so you've got a lot more going. I'll tell you, and I got to make a comment too. I got to tell you that it's very encouraging me, for being in the natural field for 30 years, to hear someone in the medical background talking the way you're talking, and understanding and accepting the natural ways. And I think there is a big paradigm shift finally beginning to happen.
Thank God.
And your family story is just incredible. And this video has got to go everywhere. Debbie, I got to say thank you to you for all you do in getting these to the YouTube, so more people who are not on Facebook get to see the message we've got with Galen.
yes, I just think it's the most easily shareable format that we can send to everybody. So that's why I do it, because I want to send it out to my people. And so, I'm sure there's many others that do as well. So
Yeah.
welcome.
Do we have any other questions that?
Nothing written. If anyone else has a comment, they could even just unmute themselves, maybe.
No?
Being at Deb, it's Bev again.
Oh, where did she go?
Perhaps she'll be.
Oh, I think we lost her.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Well, thank you
There
so
she
much.
was, gone.
Yeah.
Could be-
Somebody hit a wrong button.
That's right.
Seems
She'll
so.
probably pop back on.
I have a quick question. Brian, how's your arm doing? You're moving that pretty good from what I'm seeing.
I was telling the girls earlier on, it's coming. I don't have the splint or whatever you want to call it on it. I had a bit of a problem with it heating up on me and sweating and whatever. So, but I'm meeting with the doctor again tomorrow. I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. And I'm expecting real good news from the break. But see, I'm supercharging with Emulin and Climax, and I have no problem telling anybody if you have something wrong with you, whether it's diabetes or whether it's, you name it, don't stick to 2 pills a day, because that's what they say. But overdose on it, and drink water. Get as much water into you as you can. And I hate going to the bathroom. Well, whatever,
I actually don't get up at night anymore.
No.
Me neither.
Yeah, it improves that for a lot of people too. So
That's always a bonus.
yeah.
Does anyone else have anything else to ask or to contribute?
If there's no more questions, I would just like to remind people that next week, Doctors Ron and Ken are going to dazzle us with their knowledge again.
Yeah.
And we're not sure with what yet, but we can always count on them to give us some good stuff. And then the week after is our testimonies call, the 4th Wednesday of the month. So if anyone has any testimonies at all.
There was a gone. Yeah.
Oh.
But anyway, I'm here.
Oh,
But
you disappeared.
Coming through the lineup, there was a little old lady ahead of me, turned around and looked, and she said, "What are you buying them for?" And I said, "I use them as a tens." I said, I use two. They're cheaper than buying the tens. I put them together and I wear them that way. I had a nurse EMP officer behind me and he pretty near hit the floor laughing. But you got to have some fun, eh?
You do. You do.
But no, Ron, my arm has in the last 3 weeks has come enormous. Like I can actually pull my own pants up now with both hands. You know,
Oh, shucks.
it's a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. You know, I mean,
as we said earlier, that's a visual we can live without.
Oh, hello, mother. But I mean, there's nothing worse with getting caught with your pants down and not being able to do anything about it. But I can use my, like with my right hand, you can see how I can use it now. And that's only in the last couple of weeks.
Great.
You know, so it's coming right good.
Oh, excellent. Bev is back. I wonder if she still has her question. Did you still have your question, Bev? We lost you there for a minute.
I'm sorry. I lost the internet there. My computer went down, and I had to bring it up. I was about to make the comment to Eileen about we RNs. Today I was at the doctor. Had my mom to the doctor's office, and I was approaching it. The nurse was, you know, I was asking her how she was doing, and she just turned 50 and yada yada. And so, anyways, she said, I was saying I had this product, and then I said, she was saying, oh, I'm medically orientated. I said, look, when I went into nursing, my dad said that you do not want to leave your decisions to somebody else just because you're going into medicine. So then she gave me her email, and I sending her some information.
Great.
That's a great response from her dad. I love that.
Yeah, her dad was a real smart guy. I've known Bev all my life, and I knew her father quite well too. So they owned a great big grocery store. That started off in the early 50s, and by the 70s they had about an 80,000 square foot grocery store. So they did extremely well.
All right. Could I also just mention, I did put my email, and anybody could contact me on Facebook, or Lee or Jackie, with testimonies. If you have any suggestions for people that would be willing to do a testimony on the 4th, Wednesday. And just a quick mention about our promo that's on right now. I mean, what a wonderful way to introduce people to this company is, even if there's 2 or 3 people in a family looking at getting the product, get one of the gold packs, be upgraded to platinum, and share that with your family, because having extra product on hand makes it easier to get it out to people. If you've only got your own product, you get pretty stingy. I know, because my Climax is down to part of a bottle now, and I'm hanging on with dear life. But I would just take a second here. I'd love to just thank you so much, Eileen, for such an inspiring story. And that in itself, even without your background, is such a tremendous testimony to this company and its products, and then the passion that you bring along with it for helping others and the seniors community was very, very good, and we will get this out as soon as possible. And Lee, you did an excellent job for your first time, so
thank you very much.
Hats off to you. And next week we'll have Jackie back, and I will be away for a week, maybe 2. It depends what time I get back on the 27th, because I'm going to the Maritimes. So yeah, I'll turn that back over to you, Lee, and have you close the call.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us, and thank you so much, Eileen, for sharing your story. It's given us all a lot to work with, your tips for business, but the heartwarming results of these products for your own family, especially for Trainer, it's wonderful to hear. Well done. So,
Hey, Lee?
Yes.
Can I make a quick comment before we leave? Deb reminded us all of that wonderful promotion we've got. If you look down on your screen, there's a gentleman by the name of Wade Putt who this afternoon came in with the gold to platinum package. So we want to welcome
Oh, welcome,
to the
Wade.
Wade, that's wonderful.
Good
work.
thinking.
How'd it go? Good move.
Yes.
Welcome.
We look forward to having you on more calls. And thank you everyone for having me along. It's great to be part of this team now, or another part of the team, and with you again. So thank you, and if anyone's got anything else, we'll all say bye for now.
Bye for now, and thank you, Eileen, and thank you, Eileen. Hello. Take care, everybody.
Bye now.
Night.
Thank you. Good night.